Hey everyone, Eric Thompson here. Hope that you are doing very well on this Good Friday edition of the Top 10 Film Review. Okay, of E.T.'s Film Review, Top 10 videos. We have come at last to the end of this year's series of films, a new approach that we took this year with the Top 10 film series, and we tried a video reel revelation in there somewhere. That went pretty well, I thought. But alas, this is the last Top 10 video that we will have for this season anyway of E.T.'s Film Review. Perhaps you saw that video from before, that real quick one in which I suspended the written reviews. I think I did maybe 10 this year, but things at work became just too busy to keep up with at home. And so I'm sorry I had to do that. I felt bad about it, but it was the right decision, and I'm okay with that. In any case, top 10 films, and this evening we're covering my personal top 10 movies. I've mentioned some of them in the videos past, but tonight the definitive list up to this date anyway. Last week we were supposed to have my top 10 romantic films, okay? Unfortunately, things got out of control again and I was unable to record that video, so I would like to offer that list to you now over here. Vegas, if you would put that up, please. Thank you. So there you go. Top 10 romantic films. Hope that looks okay to you. It looks okay to me. I don't care to comment on it really right now. Just to say, there it is. Enjoy. Hope that some of those are also on your list as well for your romantic films. Not dramatic films, but romances. And so that's why you have the likes of Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail and that kind of stuff in there. True rom-coms, as it were. Romantic comedies, okay? There you go. My thanks to all of you for your support this year. We tried some new things this year. Not only did we add some new elements to the review, to the written portions of the review, but also the top 10 videos, which did very, very well, I think. A lot of good viewer response on that. All the videos generated some great conversation on Facebook. None on YouTube. That's okay. And so I was glad for that. I'm glad to see my friends talking about movies and sharing with each other and just joining in the fun, really. And I appreciate that you guys kept it fun and were not overly cynical about this or that or the other thing. I really do appreciate that. Today is Good Friday, unless you're watching it tomorrow, in which case it is Holy Saturday. And if you went back in time and watched it on Thursday, then it is Holy Thursday. There you go. And so happy Good Friday to you. And if you're watching this after sundown on April 6th, the Good Friday, it is also Passover. So happy Passover if you are celebrating it. Very good. I say thank you. Let me say it again. I really mean it. I really appreciate the support, you guys coming out, watching these videos. They've been long. They've been exhausting. boretownusa.com/whatishedooing.edu/get-it-over-with. All right. Next year, 2013, the film review. I do not know where we're going to be at that point in time, okay? I don't know what I'll be doing. Am I broadcasting from this room anymore? Who knows, all right? But next year, I'll make a concerted effort to get the written reviews back up and running, full force. And also, I want to try some new things, okay? I want to keep trying new things. See what works, see what doesn't work. You tell me. You help me with that. Other projects, I would like to revise all of the previous reviews from the last 3 years. Is this the fourth year or third year? Oh, whatever. To revise them all, reformat them, and then put them all in a hard copy. And maybe someday this hard copy will get used by me or someone in the future to use like as Bible study kind of material, the real revelations especially. And so if that interests you at all, if you would like a copy of that, a hard copy that you could put on your bookshelf, let me know, or I'll email you the Word document when I finish it, okay? Let me know how you felt about the video posts this year. Were they good for you? Were they bad? Were they boring? Were they exciting? Did you look forward to it? Did you hate it? And would you like to see more? Bottom line, okay? I can definitely see myself doing a lot more of this kind of thing, but it takes time. It definitely takes time to edit there over on the other computer. So that's that. All right, let's get into it. My top 10. Wait, I always forget something. Before I do, you know what this is. I'm gonna take a drink anyway. already had another can tonight. There's the empty one. Tori had Sprite. I'm okay with that. Both were good. Now, because of your support this year, I want to do something kind of fun. Michael, my main man, Michael Lacey, the champion of the review, we put together this list. Oh, Mike must have been, 6 months ago. And we did this thing where we were chatting on Facebook one day, and we were just saying all these things that the movies kind of taught us. And so we put together this list, and it's not too terribly long, and there's not a whole lot on there, but I'm going to throw it up on Facebook. I'll put a link in the video description. You guys can check it out. Some of them are kind of fun. Some of them are definitely, plays on movies, but otherwise it's just like things that are true in the movies that could not really be true in real life, but maybe they could be. So this is a couple of the things. If you intend to get involved in the car chase, don't go into a parking garage. Nothing good ever comes of it. Epic music should always accompany cross-country road trips or distance running. You are completely safe from zombies if you carry a double-barreled shotgun. Imagine there's a bad guy coming after you. If a good guy comes in the room you're in. This is very poorly written, I'm sorry. If a good guy comes into the room you're in and tells you to stay put, don't do it. 9 times out of 10, the bad guy is stronger than the good guy protecting you and will be upon you in moments. Don't use teleporters. Just don't. Finally, there's one last one. Knocking off casinos isn't hard at all. You need 3 things to achieve success. A nice suit, body armor, and George Clooney. So I'll throw that one up there. It's kind of fun. I'll put it up. I'll put a link to it in the description. I'll post it as a note on my profile. Okay, enough. We're 7 minutes in. We haven't talked about a single movie yet. Let's get to it. E.T. Top 10 review. Top 10 films right now. Number 10, Sound of Music. Of course, I had to honor musicals somewhere. It was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Was number 10 for a little while. And I said, how can I do this? How dare I? And so, The Sound of Music, which also consequently tips its hat to that whole rank of other Rodgers and Hammerstein's musicals. We're talking South Pacific, we're talking Carousel, we're talking Oklahoma, we're talking State Fair, okay? Sound of Music is a tip of the hat, a nod, not quite an homage, but to those other ones. But The Sound of Music itself, it really revolutionized things, especially in the way that musicals were put on the big screen. What was the big musical that came to the screen somewhat after The Sound of Music did? West Side Story. And that took the game to a whole new level. But especially as, The Sound of Music is embedded in a real story and made use of truth. I mean, somewhat fictitious, but also somewhat true. Absolutely endearing music. I mean, we're talking about, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, some of those songs, some of you know I played piano in a sushi bar, of all places, for a little while. And I haven't had my guitar with me. But I used to play that, all I ever did was just play that. And that everyone knew I was going to play. Raindrops on roses and so on and so forth. I mean, that was all I had to do. It was just that little vamp. That was it. And so those recognizable tunes stay with us. Of course, Julie Andrews, unbelievable. Christopher Plummer, again, just won Best Supporting Actor all these years after that film. And, gosh, they were so young. Anyway, number 10, Sound of Music. Number 9, talked about it before. Gonna bring it back. Labyrinth. Here is a staple of my childhood, okay? You got Jennifer Connelly. 14, first role ever. You got David Bowie, international superstar at the time. And you throw him in with who? Jim Henson. Unbelievable. And especially considering that Henson produced and directed this film alongside doing The Muppet Show, and he had all these other projects going on. He had completed before then. What was one he did before then? Help me remember it. The Dark Crystal was before it, I believe. Maybe it was after. Anyway, they were all kind of right there in the same period. So Jim Henson's working, going crazy, going nuts. These geniuses overflowing, and you get these unbelievable explorations, these fantastic adventures, such as in the Labyrinth. And it was sort of, I don't know, a Muppet Disney film in some respects, not only because it was a musical, but you had a princess character, or a princess-type character. And certainly the Goblin King, Jareth, was trying to make her his queen. And so she plays that role. But then, that's why I think that Henson's films are so curious, is because they run the line of being as if a Disney movie happened in real life, because the characters are clearly not of an existing world, except of course for when she goes into the labyrinth itself, and then they exist naturally there. But do you understand what I mean? In a Disney movie, everything's animated, and so you expect animated creatures all over the place. But here you have Jennifer Connelly, David Bowie, real people, real flesh and blood, and they're interacting with the animated type characters. And so you're sort of in between. It's real life, and it's animated, but it's still fantasy, and it's still kind of sci-fi, and it's still sort of nuts, and the music is pretty awesome. Congrats to David Bowie for composing that score. Watch the behind the scenes and the documentaries on that. It's pretty interesting how he put all that stuff together. Okay, enough. Let's continue with the music, though. Bottom 3, all about the music. Number 8, Herbert von Karajan. His birthday was, well, yesterday now, but Thursday the 5th, his birthday, so happy birthday, Maestro. And his performance of Mozart's The Coronation Mass from St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City in Rome. I've been to this place and experienced the grandeur not only of the setting, but of the spiritual weight that it carries, being the epicenter of the Catholic Church. So that's a big plus. Also, this was the first classical music DVD I ever bought. And I knew who von Karajan was before then, but I had never seen him conduct in person. I'd never seen a recording of him conduct. I just, of him conducting rather, I just heard recordings on vinyl or CDs or whatever it was. Wow. I mean, it really changed my life to come into contact with such a powerful musician, and then to have this ultra-sacred music offered at a high mass with Pope John Paul II. Unbelievable. I mean, it really changed my life at the time, especially as I was starting to study music more. The Coronation Mass, for anyone who cares about Mozart at all, is really kind of a lost gem. Is that Noxymoron? I don't know. I heard Gem's lost. I don't know. Anyway. But it has been somewhat lost in light of Mozart's Great Mass in C minor, which is really the greatest piece of sacred music that he wrote, aside, of course, from the Requiem. And so the Coronation Mass sort of falls into like a black hole. It's just forgotten about. But an oubliette, if I may, from the Labyrinth, okay? But it's unbelievable. You got Kathleen Battle singing the soprano solos. Unbelievable. I don't know if they even sell this DVD anymore. But you would do well if you like classical music and you care for Mozart and you like the Mass to hop on Amazon or iTunes and to pick up the recording of this performance. It's the same. It has all the prayers. That's what's kind of neat about it too. It has all the prayers and the readings and the intercessions from the Mass in it. It's all there. It's just that the propers of the Mass are sung by the chorale and played by the orchestra. Okay, number 7, in keeping with the Labyrinth, another childhood staple. Mel, you will agree with me. Number 7, The Neverending Story. Already talked about this one quite a bit in recent videos, mentioned it here and there. And so simply to say, this is just an important movie to me. And again, just what I said before, I was always so fascinated by the idea that there's a world that is constructed of human imagination. I think that's so awesome. All those little daydreams that you have as you go through the day, or even in dreaming. What if there was a world that was built on those things? Both the bliss and the ecstasy and the nightmares, as there are in Fantasia with the Gomorrah and the Nothing and the Southern Oracle, and that's really weird. And then there was that mirror in the middle of that Hoth, or wherever they were, the snow zone or whatever. Oh my gosh, what a movie. Don't even bother with the second and the third, just stick with the first. Pretty awesome music, too. You know what I'm talking about. We've talked about it before. Swamps of Sadness, I still can't do it. I can't do it to this day. I posted a picture of Artax, or of Atreyu and Artax walking into the swamps on Tori's wall the other day on Facebook. That was all I could do. I couldn't even look at it barely. It was just too... Anyway. Number 6. Finally, we're going to change gears. The Hunt for Red October. Oh, yeah. I feel like I've talked about submarine movies in every single video I've posted, and so I've got to have at least one submarine film on this list. And there are so many good ones. But for me, it was always about The Hunt for October. It was modern enough to have some good CG in it. Okay, a lot of that underwater stuff was computer generated. But you had the likes of Sam Neill and Sean Connery, excuse me. You know, so you had stately, established, famous actors who grounded the movie as well. Of course, this did not hold true in K-19, The Widowmaker, because you had Liam Neeson and Harrison Ford. You think you're going to put these two guys together and you're going to get a masterpiece. That one did not do so well. But here, Connery and Neil, joined by a very young Alec Baldwin in his first and only appearance as Jack Ryan in that whole Jack Ryan series. And thank you, Harrison Ford, for rescuing that away. Because those next two films are pretty good at Patriot and Neverending Nature. Anyway, Alec Baldwin is there. He's in top form. It is enjoyable all around. Don't forget James Earl Jones. And don't forget, what's her name? She played Dr. Crusher on The Next Generation. She's in the movie too! Check it out. You'll see it. You'll see it. Okay. So good. Number 5. I got it right here. I'm going to pull it off the shelf. Hold on. Oh, back's a little stiff. I got it right here. Okay. Boom. The Mission. Holy smokes. If you've not seen it, I don't know why you're still watching me. You should watch this movie. Whoa. This is serious stuff. I mean, I'm not playing, okay? I'm not kidding. This is a serious movie. Now, you can just play hit and miss with your favorite actors. How do you feel about Robert De Niro? He's okay. You don't like him? But you like The Lion King, and you want to hear more of Uncle Scar. You want to hear Be Prepared? Jeremy Irons. You say, I like Star Wars more. Oh, you like Star Wars? Well, how about a little Qui-Gon Jinn action? Liam Neeson. Boom. Sweeping and visually resplendent. The Mission is a powerful action epic about a man of the sword, De Niro, and a man of the cloth, Irons, who unite to shield a South American Indian tribe from brutal subjugation by 18th century colonial empires. It's true. That's all. I mean, what else am I going to say about it? But you've got to see it. And what an ending, and what a testimony to what these men of the cloth really do/did in these most remote locations of the world. It's a sweeping epic. Enough. Number 4, another sweeping epic. Saving Private Ryan. We talked about this somewhat at length during the war film video. This was number 1, right? I think it was. I just want to say one thing about it. What impressed me the most. Of course, I had to give another nod of the tip of the nod of the whatever hat to Tom Hanks. He had to be on there somewhere. But I remember my friend Daryl. I'm sorry, Daryl, that the Terminator did not make the list. It's not going to make 3, 2, 1. I'm just breaking it to you now, brother. Okay. Anyway, he said that either he had seen or his friend or his dad had seen after this movie had premiered in Oregon, where we lived at the time, where I lived at the time. He still lives there. There was a special showing for veterans, not necessarily World War II veterans, but any veterans at all. And Daryl recounts seeing or having told by someone that saw these grown men, I mean, older gentlemen coming out of the theater, broken, I mean, weeping, you know. And if you've seen the film, you recall that at the end, it doesn't end on that bridge in Europe with Tom Hanks's character, you know, wounded, but it ends, you know, back in the cemetery, you know, with Matt Damon's older character trying to come to grips with what had happened to him so many years before. Very emotional, very poignant. And these men coming out of this theater, you know, these hardened veterans, you know, soldiers, heroes, coming out of the theater just broken, weeping. That was enough for me. I mean, I hadn't even seen it yet, and I heard this and thought, holy smokes. And then my friend Ryan and I went and saw it with my folks, and for me, it changed what a war film would be and should be. And so, and of course, that it birthed both Band of Brothers and the Pacific. I mean, it only in that it put Spielberg and Hanks together in working on World War II topics and subjects. And if you've not seen either of those series, I highly recommend it to you. I think Band of Brothers is a bit better, but they're so different, really. Incredible testimonies. And they do feel a bit like Saving Private Ryan as well, in intensity, but also in sentiment and in truth. I just can't believe it, what people say about there being a really good 15 minutes at the beginning and a good 10 minutes at the end. To see it as a whole is really to behold something special. And so, speaking of something special, let's get on to number 3. This is kind of a cop-out. I appreciate that, but I had to go all the way with it. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now, I know what you're going to say. It's not fair. Why can't one be better than the other? Well, maybe one is better than the other, but I do not feel it is right for me to just judge flat out like that, okay? Gosh, I don't even know what to say about this. The whole trilogy at once. If you've watched it all the way through, you've done the Saturday Lord of the Rings Marathon Day, you'll know what I'm going to say. What other trilogy has such sustainable weight from the beginning of the first film all the way to the end of the third, or fourth, or fifth, all right? I'm looking here at my shelf, and I have all the Pirates of the Caribbean films. If I watch these guys back to back, I would not feel, by the end of the fourth one, that I had really seen all that much, okay? And a lot of miscellaneous adventures, but here, of course, based entirely upon the success of the books. I mean, we're talking international success. We're talking aliens from Mars coming to Earth to buy Lord of the Rings to take back to Mars to read to the baby Martians. You know what I'm saying? This is how popular the book was. And so for Peter Jackson to be brave enough to even try to capture the essence of the books, I realize things were left out. I appreciate that. It is not a perfect adaptation, and that's okay. But for it to be done so masterfully, and then of course for Return of the King to receive the unbelievable accolade that it did. Whoa. Whoa. And that is why I feel that I cannot just say, oh, well, Return of the King's best, or Two Towers is the best, or whatever, okay? I feel it is necessary to really pay tribute to the whole trilogy, because as a collected work, gosh, it's good. All right. Number 2. We're almost there. Thanks for sticking with me. We're at 23 minutes right now. All right, wait, now. That was a second too early, I'm sorry. Amadeus. I forgot this in the drama list. I told you it would have been number 2. Here it is, number 2. It's back. Number 8, I mentioned Mozart, my favorite composer. Not by far, but definitely my favorite, because he is a genius. If you know his music at all, you understand what I mean. Not only that it's good, I mean, all of the top composers are geniuses, but Mozart especially, even from from 4 years old, he wrote better. There's a saying among composers: if you think you've written a good piece of music, remember that Mozart wrote something better when he was 10. It's true. When he was 10 years old, he was writing music that surpasses most of what professional composers write today. It's true, unfortunately, but that's how it is. He's on a genius level. And Amadeus, based on the play, takes a very brave look at his life. Now, if we're going to be hard on Lord of the Rings for being somewhat fraught, not somewhat fraught, for having some historical inaccuracies, I got to be really, really hard on Amadeus. Of course, the main thing, the whole plot line is entirely untrue. Magnificently as told as the story is, there is no evidence to ever support that Salieri, that Anton Salieri and Mozart were enemies at all. And they joked, and in their letters you can see the joking and the competitive spirit between two composers, especially two composers of or for the court of Vienna. But there is no chance that Salieri poisoned Mozart or assisted in his death, and definitely that he did not transcribe elements of the Requiem, Mozart's last piece that he wrote while he was alive. We know that Mozart wrote a bit of it, he died, and then his student Schicknader, he finished it. That's it. We know that for sure, definitively. So a lot of fiction here, but a lot of heartbreaking intimacy with the master, with the maestro, with Mozart. If you've not seen this one, you got to get into it. Holy smokes, it's good. What's his name? The actor who played Salieri. Apparently, and I just don't want to look at Wikipedia to confirm or deny it. The only movie, or the only gig that he had before that role, which won him an Oscar, by the way, was in a Fruit of the Loom commercial. That's right. He was a dancing pair, or dancing, I want to say pair of grapes. That's not true. He was a dancing grapevine on some guy's underwear. I don't know what to say. He was pretty good in the movie anyway. And he went on to have a very successful career in lots of other films, including a Star Trek film. That's kind of fun. Number 1. You know what it is. Yep. That's right. Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ. I've talked about this movie enough already. What else is there to recite to you about this film that I have not said already? It is one of the great 3. You know that. The chariot race is among, if not the, most iconic cinematic scenes in all of cinema. You know, it took 5 months or 5 weeks to shoot that sequence. $1 million they spent. And I think they rode I think 320 miles worth of riding. Can you imagine 320 miles? How many laps around that circus that they built? How many laps that was? 320 miles worth. Whoa! Just for the one scene. Just for the one scene, and the rest of the movie as well. Gosh. But, and I'll say it without any shame or hesitation at all, and you know, of course, if you've been reading the reviews, or if you know me very well at all, the reason why it is number 1, beyond Charlton Heston, beyond Stephen Boyd, and beyond Nicola Sorosa, the composer, and beyond the scope of the film, is because of Jesus Christ. He is the beginning and the end for my life. He's all I got. Everything else I have around me is a blessing from Him, a gift, gifts that we enjoy together. Gifts from God, blessings from God. It's true. It's true. And so this movie is a beautiful example of how God meets man. Judah, a faithful Jew, comes face to face with the Savior. Whether he knows that he is the Savior or not, of course he does by the end. Check out that movie. Watch it. All right? But it is an expression of how God seeks after us. And sometimes, like in this movie, it takes man a while to realize that God is reaching out to him. Others in the movie, they're in immediately. They're right there. Boom. They're following Jesus. They're right on with him. It takes some people a lot longer. All right? That's good news for us, that God is patient with us, that He is merciful. And this is an excellent time to think about that, to meditate on those things. How long have you been running away from God? How long have you been ignoring Him? Or, if you have come to know the Savior, think on how long you have walked with Him, how long you've loved Him, how long you've served Him, and give Him thanks and praise for having been with you all this time, for helping you with all the different things in your lives, all the situations that would have been impossible for you to handle on your own. But Jesus was there, just as He arrived in the moment of greatest need for Ben-Hur in the film. And Jesus is there for you too. Do you see it? Do you not see it? Faith is the evidence of things unseen. That's what the Bible tells us. That's tough to grapple with, especially for people who feel they have no faith or that they have no interest in faith. But that's the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ, is that Jesus came both for the believer and the unbeliever. No matter where you're at, He is for you, and He loves you so much. Why else would I choose a top 10 film like this, except to number 1 film, except to tell you these important things, to tell you truly that Jesus loves you. And today, Good Friday, we recognize that He died for us out of His love, His great love. He gave up His life. How often does that happen at all? I mean, unfortunately, quite a bit now, during wartime, especially for our country. Men and women giving up their lives every day to keep us safe. Who's giving up their life for you? Somewhat rhetorical, but think about it. Today on Good Friday, we recognize that Jesus gave his life up for us all. And that by his death, resurrection, we can come to new life. We can start over again. Throw off the old person, just as Ben-Hur does in the film. All these things that he had gone through over the whole course of the film, all of his bitterness and his anger and his hatred. His joy had been lost when he was betrayed by Masala. All those years of waiting for revenge and revenge and revenge. And finally, the moment comes for revenge, and God touches his heart. And he feels a love, compassion, and mercy. Good news, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. Top 10. There it is. My top 10. Please share yours below. All right. Post it up. See you soon.